What's up? What's up? Race day. Whoo! What a great day we had today out at the field. We had an amazing time having everybody come together. But that's not what I was going to chat about real quick. Man, this has also been the talk of the day, even at the track today. Even right now, I got Cinder, my bad, messaging me as I'm doing this. We were talking about this. It's so exciting. It's some pretty cool stuff. I'm going to talk a lot more this upcoming week about this because I'm going to dig deep into kind of getting some better info because I really want to educate people kind of on what I see as this is something I've been seeing happening and I've been kind of talking about and forecasting is, you know, none of us are experts in this stuff and none of us really understand this stuff at super high levels 100%. Very few people in our industry that are developing hardware and product and software are really actually like avionics experts. I mean, we got Wild Willie, who's one of the best. And dude, this guy's going to school and full on for aviation sciences and stuff like that. And, you know, all that stuff. You know, we got guys like Tyler Brennan and, you know, he's a fighter pilot. We got plenty of people in the aviation industry doing things. But I think a lot of this stuff at like technical high scientific levels and research and development levels, you know, for avionics and stuff, TBS has a lot of people, I think, on their squad that are in that area. But I think it's interesting that we're getting to a point where software development is being maxed out by hardware, and hardware is now being rethunk. And I think that it's really interesting that the last 2 or 3 years, we've really seen an explosion from F1 to F3 to F4 to F7 to higher level computing technologies, our high level computing powers being used on boards. But we haven't redesigned a lot of boards. And what a lot of people in the kind of hobby right now don't know is most boards today are a derivative of, and I might even have one. No, I don't. I have a lot of dead boards here. Actually, okay, are a derivative technically of one of these styles of boards. Wait, where's the camera? This is technically an F1. So this is an F1. Wait, I think this is, oh wait, no, that's not the one. Hold on, I have one around here. Dang it. Okay, whatever. I don't have time for that. I have an F1 laying around here. All the F1, the original boards, you know, were all derivatives that we're now using now as things got quicker and faster and as software progressed and we got Betaflight and Clean Flight and all these things. We used to have Base Flight and we used to have Libra Pilot and Open Pilot. Those things started getting really coded differently and started being better coded, that the hardware never really progressed much with it as far as finding new techniques to go along side by side because the computing guys that were writing the code are not necessarily hardware developers. They were relying on hardware developers. So we're entering a phase where hardware development is, I think, going to reach a new era in the FPV side. We've seen it in VTXs, we've seen it in cameras, we've seen it in antennas, we've seen it in even receivers technologies, but we're not seeing it in flight controller technologies. We're not seeing a lot of new things. We're seeing repackaged designs. How do I take an F4 and make it into an all-in-one and all these things. So what's in this box is from Helio RC, which is actually, I bought it from Readmade RC, but Helio RC is a new company. And much like Brain FPV, the Brain FPV lines from Radiox, I can't think of their name, but Brain FPV is on the same kind of path as what's in this box, which is Helio RC has a new board, and this is it, and it's in its package. You just saw it unboxed. First time I got it, I just walked in from the race. So this is a new flight controller that is taking a new approach to how the data is processed on the software side. So again, a lot of people don't really understand 100% that the flight controller is the hardware, and you can put different software or firmware on the hardware typically and make it fly. You can use any variation of flight controllers firmware typically on almost every flight controller. Only a few have their own specific ones, and even those you can usually shift over with a few modifications, maybe moving some wire signals and stuff like that. So all flight controllers in theory are kind of a baseline as far as it's just a vehicle for the software to be packaged on. And so Helio RC has brought out this new product, and this is their Spring IMU-F flight controller. And this, peach gummy candies. That's funny. So you get peach gummy candy, actual physical candy. And then they actually have the gummies, which are the gummies we're used to. They're pink and they're actually in here. And so do not eat your gummies because they gave you some gummies to eat over here. It's pretty cool. They have purple, actually. We haven't seen purple gummies. But here's the board. You want to see it. Let's see if I get it to focus. Sorry, I'm using a bad frontal camera here. Here's the Spring IMU-F board, though. It is a F4 board, but it also has an F3. So it has an F3 and an F4. Why? Or what is that? Well, that's what I'm trying to say is it's really interesting. I'm going to learn about it. I'm going to play with this some more. You've seen me tune Butterflight, which Butterflight is not have anything to do with Helio RC other than it's what's being shipped as the firmware. Butterflight is a fork of Betaflight. So we'll talk about that later, but you've seen me play with Butterflight. The whole reason I was playing with it was I want to try this board, and it comes shipped with Butterflight. So what I did was I took my Revolt last week and I flipped it over to Butterflight, and I've been tuning and playing with it. So I have videos on my channel and you'll see them. I have the first flight, which was just straight up 8.8 on a Revolt stock PIDs on Butterflight. And I did that so I could kind of see it against the Revolt on its stock PIDs, which I was just not, I was having issues tuning my Revolt and I just couldn't figure it out, right? I couldn't get my head wrapped around the tuning. And so I just was not happy with any of that. And so I wanted to have an experience, the exact same thing on Butterflight, because I've done that on Betaflight and I know what it's like. And so I have a good baseline of both of those, but I wanted to do it here. So I flashed the Revolt and I ran it baseline on stock everything. It flew great. It wasn't tuned perfectly. And then I went and tuned it a little bit and I threw the fast Kalmans and the 32 kilohertz and we went and did it. And it flew amazing. It flew better. And then I tuned it a little more. And now it was flying just great. So now I have a F4 Revolt running Butterflight, which is running fast Kalmans and all kinds of filtering and all that, right? Well, now I also have Helio RC, and it's going to run Butterflight. But this Butterflight is going to be different. It's actually going to have no actual F4 filtering. So the F4 processor will not filter a thing. Now, filtering is where we get latency. Filtering is where we get data disappearing that possibly needs to be there. So with filtering comes negative things. So what this does is it uses that F3, and that F3 will take in the same inputs and all the same signals and everything coming in, and it's going to filter on the outside before it actually hits the gyro. So the gyro power is no longer being used to filter. So all that power is still now on tap to do flight control. I know that doesn't sound like a crazy lot unless you really think about it and you really kind of understand as you get into this that the latency and the filtering and being able to do all that processing on one chip, if you can take that and split off all the stuff that you don't want to do on that chip, that all those resources are now faster. So you're talking about faster loop times. You're talking about, I mean, are we going to see a 64 kilohertz come soon? I don't know. 96, 128. It'll be interesting. It's going to be really crazy to see when really smart people that know what they're doing in this technology space start implementing better hardware sets for the softwares that are darn good at what they're doing, but working with substandard hardware in some situations, get to really going. So I really think 2019 is going to be a great year for things like this coming out. Will it be Helio RC at the top? Will it be Butterflight the best? I don't know. Maybe it's Raceflight eventually. Maybe it's Betaflight again. Maybe Betaflight closes down and kind of starts shifting into actually producing and making some money for themselves. I wouldn't mind seeing that happen. Just like kind of everybody should, you know, use the beta process to do the beta process. But at some point, I mean, open code's great, but let's get some real development going. Because the thing that we need in consumerism for this to make this good is we shouldn't be afraid of having consumer model stuff that's easy to get up and go and fly and people can do. Because the amazing things that we'll be able to do, that if you're a real pilot and you have real pilot skills and passions and able to use these things to create, when you get to a point to where anybody can fly really great and amazing flow, we're going to see who has real skills on the sticks. The real skills will still shine through, and you'll be able to have all that more time and all that more, just be able to be relaxed and trust your gear that much more and know your gear and feel your gear. And so I don't know, for me, this stuff is exciting. I know I blabbed on about it longer than I expected to. I just wanted to open it up, show you guys, because again, y'all been following the Butterflight maybe, I'm not sure. Follow me the next coming week or two and you'll start seeing me do this. Pretty cool stuff. We'll do an in-depth look at this board probably Monday. I'll get some really good stuff on it. All right, fly safe, fly smart, just fly. Deuce.